The Rastafari Code of Conduct. Table of Contents. Page 6, Rastafari Code of Conduct. Page 9, Acknowledgements. Page 10, Education, Self-Help, Human Diversity. Page 13, General Code. Page 15, Future Progress. Page 16, Commitment to African Upliftment. Page 17, Responsibility to Global Fellowship and World Peace. Page 18, Educational Responsibility, Health and Dietary Practice. Page 20, What is ITAL? Page 21, Dispute Resolution. Page 22, Concerning the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. Page 24, Rasta Reggae Musicians. Page 25, Concerning Rites of Passage. Page 26, Sexual Activities. Page 27, Nyabingi Creed. Page 29, Important Dates to Remember. The Rastafari Code of Conduct. Greetings and love in the names of His and Her Imperial Majesties, Emperor Haile Selassie I and Empress Menen Asfa. Brethren and sistren, Rastafari administrators, houses and organizations. This code is intended for the Rastafari nation to be observed as a moral guide to the integrity and steadfastness of the nation. Though many may not consider it to be a part of their daily livity, it is, however, just a guide. The framing of this code was 5 years in the making, and many things were taken into consideration. The framers have listed and debated the different aspects and opinions of everyone who contributed to its development, whether they were done via email or internet web forums, or the telephone and meetings. The recommended Rastafari Code of Conduct was first ratified in July to August 2008 at the Global Nyabingi Consultation held at the Nyabingi Grounds, Scotts Pass, Clarendon, Jamaica, by the Nyabingi Ancient Council and the Nyabingi delegations from across the Caribbean, Africa, and the USA. Further collective input was made by the Nyabingi National Council UK in 2010. The second revision of the Rastafari Code of Conduct was done by Rastafari Regal Livity UK, 26th of January 2015. He who should be a leader must pay the price of self-discipline and moral restraint. This entails the correction and improvement of his personal character, the checking of passions and desires, and an exemplary control of one's bodily needs and desires. Kedemawi Haile Selassie. Copyright Wisemind Publications, 2015, revised 2016. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced or stored without prior permission of the publisher. The following administrators and delegates, along with members of the Rastafari family, approved the Rastafari Code of Conduct at the Global Nyabingi Consultation, July 22nd through 30th, 2008, at the Scotts Pass Nyabingi Center, Clarendon, Jamaica. Priest George Irons, Mama Kafe, West Africa. Bongo Ken, Sister Lyris Walker, Trinidad. Bongo Roy, Data Ianai, Maryland. Sister Eileen, Barbados. Ras Coyote, Barbados. Bongo Tani, Rastafari Tazadi, St. Croix. Priest Bongo Sheffen, Prince Nan Nan, Grenada, Sister Yanzi, Ras Rafiki, Barbados, Priest Bongo Zato, James Morel, Barbados, Ancient Balewa, Ras Caver, Ras Ayavi, Ras Muggy Roy, Mama Faya, Junior Negus, Ras Irie Lion, Dada Norma, Ras Mabrock, Ras Aista J, Bongo Wakai, Bongo Job, Ras Ivai, Ras Garth, Bongo Joe, Bongo Manny, Ras Sase, Ras Flaco, Ras Shaka, Bongo Jack, Trinidad, Bongo Italo Tafari, Barbados, Sis Irene, Barbados, Ras Baccarai Holder, Barbados, Bongo Greece, Trinidad House. Wisemind Publications. Acknowledgements. Special thanks to Kidamawi Haile Selassie and Empress Menen for inspiration, wise mind, knowledge, and overstanding, so that I can magnify Jah works in all the earth with good behavior, integrity, honesty, and love. Extended gratitude to Ras Ravanai, Ethiopia Het Heru, Bingi Hayasi, Ras Jahaziel, Sister Mary Dread, Ras Kostafari, Jah Reveal Designs. To the Ancient and Administrative Council of the Nyabingi, along with all participants on the Code of Conduct message board. To the NNC UK, and to all others who have made their valuable contribution, thank you very much. Ras Flaco Tafari. Education. A strong nation and free nation can only base itself upon education. In order to make life worthwhile, it is necessary to acquire other things that can only come about after acquisition of learning. Learning and technical training must be nurtured by faith in God, reverence for the human soul, and respect for the reasoning mind. Kidamawi Haile Selassie. Self-help. The people themselves must come to realize their own difficulties in the development of their community and try to solve them by collective participation, following an order of priority and taking their potentiality into account. Kidamawi Haile Selassie. Human diversity. The very diversity of the world's people today constitutes one of mankind's greatest resources. The different philosophies with which nations approach their problems lead inevitably to a vast array of methods and techniques. These variations are necessary, for each people must find solutions which are responsive to its particular needs. Each nation must inevitably pursue that course best suited to its own unique characteristics. We seek Africa's economic growth and development, the betterment of the way of life of Africans and all men. Kidamawi Haile Selassie. The Rastafari Code of Conduct is a general guideline of acceptable practice, covering a broad spectrum of thought within the movement. As such, it outlines the tenets of a unique lifestyle, or livity, which has evolved organically from the teachings and examples of the elders. This livity has been passed on through successive generations of Rastafari since the inception of the movement in the 1930s. Today, this evolution of practice continues alongside the worldwide spread of the movement. Though the central tenets of the movement remain immutable and unchanging, revisions and updates are meant to keep livity alive and functional, rather than dogmatic and doctrinaire. The very spread and maturity of the movement demands a level of documentation that would hitherto have seemed unnecessary, both for adherents of the faith, converts, and sympathizers, as well as the growing numbers of students, scholars, academics, religious individuals and groups, and ordinary everyday people who seek to know more about the Rastafari way of life. The code is the result of widespread consultation with individuals and groups within the movement to arrive at a summary statement on Rastafari morals, values, and the overarching principles of a decent way of life. Whereas the people of the Rastafari nation worldwide have affirmed that the nation of Rastafari is founded on principles that acknowledge the divinity of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I of Ethiopia, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God and light of this world. Recognize that people remain free only when freedom is founded upon respect for identifiable spiritual and cultural values, faith in fundamental human rights and freedoms, in a world of free people where the dignity of the human person and the equal and inalienable rights which all members of the human family are endowed by their Creator are respected and maintained. Recognize that African liberation must be the primary concern of all Rastafari people. Desire that the Rastafari Code of Conduct should enshrine the above-mentioned principles for ensuring the protection of I fundamental practices, lifestyle, and freedoms. We declare that the following provisions shall outline the Code of Conduct of the Rastafari Nation. General Code. The Rastafari family and nation accept the divinity of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I as the cornerstone and foundation of I faith and being, in whose holy name Rastafari I are called. Defend the sovereign rights of Africans at home and abroad. Abide by the laws and teachings of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, the principles and practices of the elders, I patriarchs and matriarchs of Rastafari, and the laws of nature written in the hearts of humankind. Hence, I know and accept that the collective words of Emperor Haile Selassie are the true and divine foundation of righteous governance. I uphold the principles of African unity, justice, peace, love, truth, and right, along with freedom, and commit selves wholeheartedly to strive for the cause of African liberation, repatriation, and reparation, and to labor unceasingly towards the achievement of these goals. I also seek world peace and goodwill among all mankind, working always towards equality in world citizenship and the upholding of the rule of international morality, collective security, and global fraternity. I celebrate and deem sacred the birthday of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, 23rd July 1892, and the coronation date of both the Emperor and Empress on 2nd November 1930, these being two major dates in the Rastafari calendar. At all gatherings of spiritual observance and solemn occasions, the rules and laws of the host mansion or house shall apply, and should be observed by all ones in attendance. Whereas certain exemptions shall be made for visitors to any such gathering according to their individual house or mansion rules, provision should be made to accommodate visitors who do not belong to any house or mansion, e.g., dress codes, etc. All are advised that sacred herb, incense, should be burnt in an incense pot altar for the cleansing of the tabernacle and for sanctification of the space. A smoking room should be also available for personal use, knowing that not every one smokes. No drugs are allowed to be imbibed, consumed, or smoked at such events. All attendees should be modestly attired, adhering to the dress code of the particular house or mansion. Similarly, conduct should be seemly, peaceable, and solemn, as befits such occasions. Only brethren are allowed on harps, drums, at Nyabingi ceremonial programs called izes, whereas the sistren are allowed to play shakers and other appropriate handheld rhythmic instruments. At non-ceremonial programs, the sisters are permitted to play harps in their own groups, e.g. the Empress Menen Liberators in Jamaica. All are advised and expected to abide by the observances of the officiating priests and elders. Wisemind Publications. Future progress. Rastafarians must focus on the commonalities as advised by Marcus Garvey and set aside differences to pursue the common goals that affect the collective development. Rastafarians must be productive individually and collectively, as self-reliance remains a key pillar of Marcus Garvey teachings. Moral conduct is essential for future progress, collective development, and nation rebuilding. Rastafarians must remain mindful of the original concept of righteousness, which is based on sound moral conduct and the laws of Ma'at, involving balanced reciprocity and diplomacy. Rastafarians must cleave to righteous conduct continually, on a personal level and in interaction with others. Unrighteous interactions are to be avoided. Rastafarians should keep in mind that they are the current vanguards of this ancient indigenous culture and the protectors of all human faith, as asserted by the elder patriarchs and matriarchs. The aged be protected, the sick nourished, the naked clothed, the hungry be fed, the infants cared for, should not be an idle chant, but one of principle and commitment. Wisemind Publications. Commitment to African upliftment. Domestically, we can build strong and happy and resourceful societies. Internationally, we can force the end of oppression of man by man and nation by nation. We can bring about the security and mutual trust which will open the way to the greater human achievements for which the needs of mankind now cry out. Kedamawi Haile Selassie. Africa Unite. Responsibility to global fellowship and world peace. Let us not bemuse ourselves with the notion that it is any more possible to legislate equality, for these matters concern attitudes and values over which intellect sadly exercises but little control. Let us not recoil in hatred against those who, even while protecting their freedom from bias and prejudice, reveal by their actions that the poison of discrimination has left its lasting effects, and by this reaction reveal that we, no less than they, are prey to unreasoning emotion, that we, no less than they, are susceptible to that virus which is called intolerance. Kedemawi Haile Selassie. Peace and love. The original greeting of the Rastafari elders summarizes the fundamental attitude and motivation of the movement. The ethos of harmonious goodwill towards humankind also extends to all living creatures in the universe. The Rastafari family should at all times seek to maintain the discipline of love for I fellow men and women, knowing that the healing of Africa is the pathway to global peace and the brotherhood of man. The virtues of tolerance, respect, and fraternity should always be hallmarks of I interaction with each other, with Africans, and with the global community of nations. Rastafari is a nation scattered among nations, and by our orderly conduct and behavior, I become a light to the entire world. We must become something we have never been, and for which our education and experience have ill prepared us. We must become bigger than we have ever been, more courageous, greater in spirit, larger in outlook. We must become members of a new race, overcoming petty prejudice, owing our ultimate allegiance not to nations, but to our fellow men within the human community. Kedemawi Haile Selassie. Educational responsibility. Rastafari youths must engage themselves in furthering their education, also gaining skills by acquisition and development of various trades and professions, from administrative to technical fields. Health and dietary practice. There is nothing more precious to man than a sound mind and a sound body, and it is essential that the physical well-being of our people merits as much attention as its spiritual welfare. Good health is not only necessary for the well-being and happiness of man, but is also a fundamental prerequisite for the progress and prosperity of the nation. Just as education ensures protection of man's knowledge in all fields of endeavor, so does proper medical care help in safeguarding and promoting his physical and mental growth. The preservation of health is a duty. Few seem conscious that there is such a thing as physical morality. Natural and holistic methods of health care are highly recommended. However, in instances where the circumstances may be so life-threatening that surgery may be necessary, it would be advisable to seek conventional medical help. It is recommended that the Rastafari people commit to eating healthy natural foods and follow the holistic principles of living, in keeping with Rastafari traditions and customs. Rastafari who accept a more holistic and nature-oriented lifestyle are the ones living in harmony with the earth. The highest form of dietary practice is the consumption of naturally grown foods. Ital, live it, diet, cleanses and purifies the physical being. It also offers the most life-energizing way of sustaining the physical structure and the inner irits in their original integrity. What is Ital? Ital is fresh, organic, unprocessed foods. One should abstain from animal products, byproducts, processed foods, genetically modified foods, sodium salt. The use of salt-free and natural herb seasonings is recommended. In some cultures around the world where seafood is eaten as part of the dietary customs, it is a fact that some Rastafari are fishermen and partake of their catch. However, seafood that are scavengers should be avoided. Also to be avoided are drunkenness, the use of alcohol beverages, all forms of beer, stouts, and wines, the use and sale of drugs, legal or illegal, drugs meaning and including crack, cocaine, barbiturates, pills, pharmaceuticals, and any other synthetic, commercially produced substances of like nature. Suggested solution: anyone found to be in violation of the above, i.e., drunkenness or drug abuse, is advised to seek professional counseling and be prepared to stop. As we guarantee to each the right to worship as he chooses, so we denounce the policy that set man against man on the issue of religion. Kidamawi Haile Selassie. Dispute resolution. This is as it should be, for when brothers or sisters quarrel, as it happens from time to time, they come together and discuss the issues concerned in a very open manner and attempt to arrive at a mutually agreed solution. It is natural for 41 nations to have different problems. It is our duty to thrash out our differences and to reach a solution that will command our united stand. We should be aware, more than before, not to allow discord amongst us. We must close ranks and discharge our obligations in harmony and unity of vision and purpose. Important utterance of Kidamawi Haile Selassie. In the event of disputes, the parties involved should be taken before a grievance committee of the organization or mansion that they belong to. Evidence that is collected should then determine the resolution and/or disciplinary action by the grievance committee. Failing resolution from the grievance committee, the evidence collected on the matter should be turned over to the executive administration of said organization or mansion. Concerning the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, Rastafarians should not be discouraged to be a member of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. It is an ancient Ethiopian order, and His Imperial Majesty is the defender of the faith. Non-mansion. Rastafari ones who do not belong to any organization or mansion are advised to take their disputes to any of the existing mansions or organizations of their choosing. Unresolved disputes. In an instance where there is no resolution by the grievance committee, the following is recommended: suspension for a minimum of 3 months, after which the case will be reviewed. After the review, a final decision will be taken by the grievance committee or administration of said mansion or organization. Rastafari ones who do not belong to any mansion or organization should abide by the final decision of the mansion or organization that they have chosen to air their grievance. In case of disputes of a violent nature, the matter should be referred to the appropriate local authorities for a resolution. Note: one should abstain from using the methods of justice of the external system, except in extreme situations where the social law is appropriate to dictate the outcome of the situation. Using methods of vigilante justice or any action that would endanger or threaten the security of the Rastafari family. There should be no partiality in dispute resolution. The law of the society should be obeyed, unless it conflicts directly with I fundamental beliefs. One should not abuse, slander, carry tales, hearsay, or disgrace any Rastafari brethren, sistren, house, mansion, organization, or others in public places through printed press, radio, television, internet, or any other communication media. Ones should always respect the decision of the Council of Elders, ancient guardians of the faith, or the Wisemind of elders in the community. Acknowledge the contributions of the patriarchs, matriarchs, and founding fathers of the faith. Never use the ancients to obtain money for personal benefits. Always acknowledge the contribution of African leaders, African liberators, and freedom fighters, noting important dates and events in the African calendar. Rastafari reggae musicians, singers, promoters, MCs, and DJs should always maintain the roots and cultural lyrics of the music and the standards set by the pioneers who use the music to educate and uplift. Conduct themselves with integrity while on stage and off, which includes activities while on local or foreign tours. Consider making financial contribution to the social and economic development of the Rastafari nation. Ones should refrain from using Kadamawi Haile Selassie and Empress Menen casually or in vain while on or off stage. Creating music and dance that trivializes a woman's sexuality or tramples on her integrity and self-worth, or influence ones to consider or commit acts of violence against her. Creating music and lyrics that influence anyone to commit crimes against another. Promoting music videos with lewd, sexually explicit, or immoral behavior. Concerning rites of passage, birth, sanctification of newborns, passing, and interment. Birth. Within some houses, e.g. Nyabingi, a ceremony has been ritualized to welcome and sanctify newborns in the community. This ceremony is conducted by an authorized priest at a gathering where the infant is welcomed with special prayers and is celebrated as a new member of the community with joyful chants and jubilation. If the family of the newborn is not a member of a house or mansion and requests such sanctification, the individual must learn and accept the fundamental teachings of Rastafari livity. If you are a member of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the relevant procedures should be followed. Marriage. A marriage ceremony is also in the process of being established, with the intent that it may be recognized as socially and legally binding within the community as well as the state. Interment. A ceremonial order should be in place for the individual to be laid to rest, and for their earthly contribution to the Rastafari nation to be remembered and celebrated. Cremation is now being considered as an acceptable final rite. All ceremonies should be performed by certified Rastafari priest or chaplain. It is unwise for the non-believer in Rastafari to conduct the rites of passage, as the customary procurers of the faith could be violated. Sexual activities. The following practices are forbidden by Rastafari codes of immoral behavior: homosexuality, sodomy, sex with children or animals, rape, oral sex, prostitution, whoredom, incest. Ones should avoid entering into a relationship knowingly aware that a person is already in an intimate situation with another, entering into a sexual or intimate relationship that may cause disharmony, grief, or strife, entering into a sexual or intimate relationship involving multiple partners, displaying any activity in the public that depicts sexual intent. The Nyabingi Creed. Princes and princesses must trod out of Egypt. Ethiopians now stretch forth their hands to Jah. O Jah of Ethiopia, Ainai Ivine Majesty, thy irates trod unto I to dwell in the path of righteousness. Lead Ainai. Help Ainai to forgive, that I must be forgiven. Teach Ainai love and loyalty on earth as it is in Zion. Endow Ainai with wise mind, knowledge, and overstanding to do thy will, thy blessings, O Jah. Let the hungry be fed, the naked clothed, the sick nourished, the aged protected, and the infants cared for. Deliver Ainai from the hands of our enemies, that Ainai must prove fruitful in these perilous days. When our enemies are past and decayed in the depths of the sea, in the depths of the earth, in the belly of the beast. O give Ainai a place in thy ever-living kingman, through the powers of the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of himself and light of the world. Ainai Ivine Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie Jah Rastafari, first ancient king of Iration, and for Ivor, Jah art the Alpha and Omega, the beginning without end, the first and forever, the protectorate of all human faith, and ruler of the universe. Thou art the high priest of the order of Melchizedek, who liveth and reigneth for ever. So I hail our Jah and King, Emperor Haile Selassie Jah Rastafari, Almighty I Jah Rastafari, Great and Thunderable I Jah Rastafari. Important dates to remember. 7th January, Ethiopian Feast of the Nativity of Christ. 1st March, Battle of Adwa. 3rd April, 25th Megabit, Empress Menen Earth Day. The April 1963 Coral Gardens Atrocity Anniversary Commemoration, Good Friday, better known as Bad Friday. 18th April 1966, His Imperial Majesty visit to Trinidad and Tobago. 21st April 1966, His Imperial Majesty visit to Jamaica. 25th May, All African Liberation Day. 16th June, the First Patriarch Leonard Howell Earth Day. 23rd July, His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie Earth Day. 17th August, Marcus Garvey Earth Day. 11th September, Ethiopian New Year. 2nd November, His Imperial Majesty and Empress Menen Coronation. Utterances. The tolerance of dissent and criticism within a government proceeds from a single essential premise, that the government exists to serve the people generally. Government servants, whether designated as representatives or not, have a trust to work for the general welfare. Kidamawi Haile Selassie. Domestically, we can build strong and happy and resourceful societies. Internationally, we can force the end of oppression of man by man and nation by nation. We can bring about the security and mutual trust which will open the way to the greater human achievements for which the needs of mankind now cry out. Kidamawi Haile Selassie. Liberate the minds of men, and ultimately you will liberate the bodies of men. Honorable Marcus Garvey. There is no force like success, and that is why the individual makes all effort to surround himself throughout life with the evidence of it. As of the individual, so should it be of the nation. Honorable Marcus Garvey. A people without knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. Honorable Marcus Garvey. The Rastafari Code of Conduct. Wisemindpublications.com